I did hundreds of hours of research and I read over 20 articles to identify the circumstances and habits that led to individuals becoming self made millionaires. And what I found was kind of shocking. The vast majority of these millionaires did not come from inheriting wealth, or it didn't come from them creating something like Apple, a Tesla. Most of these millionaires had accumulated their wealth through things like hard work, investing, gaining education, and being persistent over time. So, what I wanted to do was create a list of 10 habits that all of these self made millionaires had in common, and hopefully, after you listen to this list, you can take advantage of some of these habits as well. Number one, self made millionaires are constantly learning. One thing that I found that all of these self made millionaires had in common that they are constantly self improving themselves every single day. A study suggests that 61% of these self made millionaires take a few minutes out of every day to learn something new. 61%, that's a staggering number. Another study suggests that over 63% of these millionaires often listen to things like audiobooks on their way to work or while they're commuting. I personally have two folders within my mobile device that I look at tech and investing every single day. Every day I open those folders, I look at something new that's happening in the tech world, new technology that's being developed. I also look at investments. What's the best thing to be invested in? What are things that some people who are in my field are invested in are being successful? I make sure I read a little bit every day in order to be successful, and you should be doing the same thing as well. Number two, self-made millionaires listen more than they talk. We saw that many of these millionaires followed the 5 to 1 rule, where for every 1 minute that they talked, they spent 5 minutes listening and learning from the people around them. And in addition, we saw that over 81% of these self-made millionaires actively went out and sought the advice and feedback from other people. Whether they were seeking advice on what they're investing in, if they're seeking advice from their peers at work, they are always actively seeking advice and learning from the people around them. Understand this, you do not always have the answers, and it's going to be difficult for you to gain those answers if you are constantly speaking more than you're listening and more than you're actively learning from people. Number three, they avoid debt. Many of these millionaires earn compound interest instead of paying it. Often, you see many people get stuck in the wheel of getting a credit card, paying off that credit card, paying all the interest to other people. Millionaires make sure that they avoid as much consumer debt as they possibly can. And if they are using those credit cards, they're making sure that they're taking advantage of the points and paying off those credit cards each and every month prior to getting that interest charged to them. So here's a quick list of 5 things you want to avoid when it comes to consumer debt. Number one, high interest credit card debt. Number two, stay away from credit cards from stores altogether. Number three, make sure you're not taking on long-term loans. And number four, do not get high interest payday loans. All of these things you should be avoiding. Number five, they buy cars and plan to hold them long term. And I get it. Many of us as kids dream to have luxurious cars and drive them across the countryside as fast as we can. But trust me when I say that might not be the best plan for your financial future. Many of these millionaires bought cars, held on to them, and purchased dependable cars such as Honda and Toyota that they knew would have relatively low maintenance costs and will last them extremely long time. They then took that extra money and invested it over time to help them become millionaires and propel themselves to a better financial tomorrow. Number six, they have emergency funds. Many of these self-made millionaires had up to 6 to 9 months of emergency funds. This is essential because anytime that something comes up in your life, such as a credit card bill, such as your car breaking down, you can reach into your emergency fund and have enough money to pay off whatever it is that you're facing at that moment. You don't have to reach for that high interest credit card. You don't have to go to a payday loan that's trying to charge an absurd amount of interest in order for you to make it through those critical moments in your life. Make sure you have an emergency fund just like many of these millionaires. Number seven, they invest early and often. Once you build that emergency fund, the next step is to make sure that you have an automated investment plan. And the easiest way to do this is to invest in a low cost index fund that you can continuously invest in over time where it's automatically being taken out of your bank account. And here's a list of 2 low cost index funds that many people invest in. Number 1, the total US stock market fund, and number 2, the S&P 500 funds. These funds both normally returns about 8 to 12%, and you're going to be getting that money consistently because you're investing early and often as you can. And remember, the general rule of thumb is to save 20% of your income in order to invest. And the earlier you invest, the more time you have to take advantage of compound interest. Number 8, they take advantage of everything the employer has to offer. The first thing you have to do is do a little bit of research to understand the programs that your specific employer offers. Me personally, I take advantage of things such as my 401k because my employer offers up to an 8% match or whatever I put into my 401k. So that's essentially gaining free money. And here's a list of some things that most employers offer. Number 1, student loan repayment. Number 2, you can invest in an HSA program. Number 3, a 401k. Number 4, some companies give you free insurance coverage where they can cover up to $100,000 if something was to happen to you on the job. And number 5, some employees give stock options. Research shows that over 98% of companies at least offer one of these programs. So make sure you're taking advantage of them. Number 9, millionaires plan ahead. Research shows that over 73% of these self-made millionaires had both a monthly and yearly plan for themselves. In addition, another 44% of these individuals had both weekly and daily plans. So they understood what goals they want to achieve daily. They knew the objectives that they want to achieve weekly. And they knew where they wanted to be in their financial future, their careers, even their health goals, all the way up to a yearly plan. These are things that you should be incorporating into your life. Make sure you have a budget. Make sure you have a vision board. Understand where you want to be going in the future and what you should be doing today in order to get yourself to achieve those dreams. And finally, number 10, self-made millionaires make their own luck. If you want to become a millionaire, and that's something that you want to achieve in your life, you have to be consistent. You have to work hard. You have to make sure that you're planning out every step of your life in order to achieve your dreams. You have to make your own luck. And incorporating these 10 things into your lifestyle is the first step of making sure you reach your financial goals.